Hello, good morning, everyone. I am Major Mohammed Ali Shah, and it's my proud privilege and honor to be in conversation with a lady, super cop, former cop, who later on turned into a politician. She's a great leader, great speaker, very rational thinker. She is a true patriot, a nationalist, and she only wishes well for a beautiful state like Manipur without taking any sides. Because people in uniform normally we are all very neutral, very unbiased people. And here she will share her views. She, in fact, she needs no introduction. You all know her, especially people from Northeast. They revere her. She is a gallantry award winner, one of the first gallantry award winners who got a gallantry award in the narcotics department in Manipur for dealing with a drug cartel. And but later on, she surrendered her gallantry award in as a mark of protest in disagreement with certain things. Very brave lady who is fearless. Absolutely. Let's go on in conversation with Brinda, ma'am. Ma'am, Jai Hind, and thank you very much for taking your time, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Major Ali.
Yeah. Ma'am, let's start from your journey. You are the batch of Manipur Public State Civil Services MPSC of 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And you dealt with the
Yes.
drug cartels personally. Could you throw us some light about your experience with the drug cartels when you were there, ma'am, in service?
Uh, to put in a nutshell, as far as my experience is concerned, our state and the whole of the Indian subcontinent is immersed in drugs. It's the cartel is so huge that we are seeing its effect right now. The black cartel is taking place in Manipur.
Your
So I
voice
would
is coming
put
slightly
it
low, ma'am.
the
Your voice is coming slightly low.
all right. Is it audible? Is it better
Yes,
now?
yes, 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 yes. It's audible, ma'am. Please.
Okay. So to put in a nutshell, from my experience, I would put it that the whole of the state of Manipur and the whole subcontinent, Indian subcontinent, they are immersed in drugs under the drug cartel, and this whole cartel group has been able to, by all the institutions, penetrate all the important organs and the machinery, even the big personalities involved in the governance and administration. It is creeping everywhere. So it's like we have been seized and we have not realized that the reality and they accepted it and we are not prepared to face it. This is what I found out from my experience. And I've been fighting for it and I'm still fighting and I will fight till the end.
Actually, ma'am, I'm so sorry. There was a problem with the audio. I think I couldn't get it very clearly. But perhaps you were sharing your experience with the drug cartels in Manipur. Yes, ma'am.
If the viewers are not able to hear it, then we need to take it again. I don't know what's wrong. They are
Okay.
adding some. Am I audible or not? Let's just.
Yes. You're audible, ma'am. You're audible. It was not very clear, actually.
But we're not able to
Audio a
get
bit.
what I'm speaking, is it?
Right. Ma'am,
But will the viewers be able to hear that? What I'm
okay.
speaking?
Ma'am, just tell us,
You're not getting what I'm speaking.
ma'am, just tell us about your gallantry award. You had got a gallantry award while you were in service.
Yeah, I received the Gallantry Award for drug seizure, and then eventually I had to again this thing return it to the government of Manipur when I felt that I'm no longer fit to fit that award with me because of the turn of events that took place in 2019 and 20. Am I audible, Major?
Yes, you're audible, ma'am. You're audible. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
So, ma'am, but what prompted you to the extent of surrendering your gallantry award, in fact?
Actually, there was pressure from the side of the government, from the chief minister, to let off huge, BBIP, in fact, an elected ADC chairman, whom I arrested with huge amount of drugs. So from the beginning itself, the minister pressured me to let off the drug, this person whom I arrested with drugs. And then for, from 2018 till 19, I kept on fighting. And there was a lot of fight between my department and the government of Manipur in between this period. And eventually they transferred the judge, they changed a lot of people in my unit, and I ended up fighting, it all out with the CM itself from interfering in the judiciary, influencing its outcome. So ultimately, the man was let off. He was he was completely let off and booked his driver and one very small young boy instead for the whole case. So as I knew who all are involved in the letting off of this mm, person from accountability, so I eventually ended up returning my Gallant award to the chief minister, because he gave me that medal, and he himself let off the truckload in a war that he claimed that we were doing, which he was not. So as a mark of respect to administration and corruption and responsibility I bear to my state and my people, I had to return it, because I am not deserving to work with such individuals who have folk tongues and who cannot work for the people. So as a mark of protest, I had to return.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, you have had a distinguished service in the police. In fact, you were the one of the only and the first lady officer who was awarded with the Gallantry Award. But yet, I read somewhere that apparently, when you were in service, your father-in-law also was. He's the former chief, the chairman of the United Nations Liberation Front (UNLF). So, because of that, a lot of aspersions were cast upon you, and a lot of questions were raised upon your integrity. I mean, I felt very bad when I read that. I said, here is an officer, an independent officer, very, very gallant, totally selfless, risked her life for the safety and honor of our country, for the state, and did her duty honestly and diligently. When those aspersions were cast on you, how did you feel, ma'am?
Mm, I felt bad naturally, and I was doubted for my loyalty to the nation and to my state and to the government. But the reality was that they were scared of me, because the government is so corrupt. It has always been so corrupt. Somebody like me who has always stood up for the people, who has worked with multiple issues plaguing the state. So the earlier government, they were really scared of me. So hence they did not allow for me to join service, and instead doubted me, raising doubts against me and my background, which are completely false and baseless. As I have proven in my service how loyal and dutiful I am to the nation and people in my state.
Absolutely, ma'am. I think your loyalty, integrity, honesty, and your dedication, devotion, and commitment is unquestionable. In fact, but tell me one thing. I what is your sorry to ask you this, but what is your father-in-law's reaction on seeing you discharge your duties diligently?
I'm
I'm
not
sure he
able
must
to
be
hear you.
irrespective. I'm sure irrespective, he must be very proud of a person like you,
Your
because
voice is
let me
breaking.
tell
The
you
line
an
is
experience.
gone, I think.
Can you hear me, ma'am? Hello? Can you hear me, ma'am?
Hello.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Ah, yeah, yeah. You have to repeat that because you got.
Oh, okay. You know, uh, I'm sure, irrespective of the different ideologies and the different thinking, I'm certain that your father-in-law still, personally, on a personal front, must be proud of a very loyal, honest, with officer with integrity, patriotism. Because I will tell you, I'll share a small little experience of. Hello, I think your internet is gone, but let me share a small experience of mine in the underground camp. I was taken captive by an underground group in the northeast. There were four officers, one other rank, one havildar. We were in captive of the underground insurgent group. But let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they didn't ill-treat us. They spoke to us with respect, with a lot of respect. They made viva noodles for us. They made tea for us. I spoke to them in their local dialect. In fact, I not only know a bit of languages from the Northeast, but I even know the dialects. So I've always felt it's very important to know the tribal affinity, the ethnic culture, the geography, the demography, the topography, the history of the region that you are in. Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. You're back.
Yes.
So, moving forward, ma'am, so tell me about your stint after the police with politics. I mean, was because how was it being a uniformed person and now entering politics thereafter?
It has been a journey measure for me because my first and foremost priority has always been my land and my people. So it's a struggle to do whatever I can be of service to my land and the people. So whether if I was able to serve properly, if I was allowed to work freely in the police, then I would have never joined police. It was such a secure job, and it is a respectable job. Whom, people respect. Public service commission is one of the most respectable jobs in the state. So I may not have left this job. In fact, I was forced to join politics because I knew while inside that under this system, being a police, you can't do anything in this present state of affairs. So eventually, you have to, one has to clean up our state assembly. Uh, and that's the thing. Because unless we clean up the state assembly where people responsible in this narcotics cartel, involved in this narcotics cartel, who are protecting the drug lords, they are in the state assembly, then there is no way that we can get out of this hell that we are presently under. So eventually I have to take the call because unless I try, because even after my exposure, um, things aggravated, and unless I try and work deep enough to wake up the people and to make them realize that if we don't clean up our state assembly, then there is no future. So this is the try, this is the effort that I have been giving. Whether I succeed or not is another matter. It all depends on the people, but I have to give my best. That is it.
Right. Ma'am, right now we all know that Manipur is burning, Manipur is under fire. They are the mighty as a cookie, they are fighting, they are loggerheads. And what, according to you, could be an amicable situation, a solution to the whole problem, actually?
To find a solution, we need to accept the cause of it. The cause of it is that this has been portrayed out to be a fight between two communities, between the Meiteis and the Kukis. But the truth is that the cause of the issue is narcotics. This is a fight, this is a war between narcotics cartel and Manipur, the interest of Manipur. So we must question who are all in this narcotics cartel, who are all the narco terrorists in this whole cartel. So I broadly classify the narcotics cartel into four groups. Number one are the politicians and the top-notch drug lords that are in the state or from outside who control everything. And secondly are the financiers and the middlemen. And these two, first and the two can come from any community, from the indigenous as well as the natives who have come to settle in Manipur. They can come from any community from within Manipur or outside. And this involves, alarmingly, the involvement of politicians. This is a huge, alarm, concern for the outcome of the fate of the state. So these two can be from any community, and the third is the militant. The militant groups happen to belong to, you know, the hills and the particular community, and they all are under suspension of operation between the government of India and the government of Manipur under the tripartite agreement of ceasefire for rehabilitation or returning to normal life under a payment of rupees 5,000 per cadre. But so far, we have not been seeing any positive result out of this ceasefire agreement. And We have been seeing even the government of Manipur also admitted that some of the militants and those who are involved in drugs. So it is high time that we review this policy because this whole problem that we are facing doesn't have a magic wand. It doesn't have an immediate solution. We can hope for the best, but we need to find out who the narco terrorists who are running the state and who are responsible for this present state of affairs in this. The politicians, the government, Manipur, the drug lords, the militants are all in hand together and in glove together and allowing this to continue, this bloodbath to continue. So we have both the cookies and the Meiteis, they have to come to an agreement with the agreeable government whom they both the sides trust, and then the cookies also should come forward, Meiteis also should come forward, and then the rest of the communities also should come forward and discuss the real issue, that is the narcotics. How do we deal with the narcotic cartel for the long run, and how do we proceed about that to save the state and the future generations? So this is the immediate short-term and the long-term measures that we have to take in deep consultation with all the stakeholders seriously. Without that, this bloodbath, I feel very helpless, and because of the amount of emotions that are involved in both communities, because things have conflicted and are out of control, and emotions have been deeply hurt and involved. So it's a very sensitive situation that we are in. And the government of Manipur, it has not been able to take responsibility for the last 60 days, and the government of India has not responded effectively in the last 6 days. So we are losing faith in both the governments, again, state government as well as the central government. And we are presently under 355 under the central rule for external aggression and internal disturbance. So far, under the central government's rule, administration, and law and order, till now, as we all have seen, there have not been effective steps, and they have not been able to control the situation till now. So we have lost faith in the government of India as well. So it has to be a collective participation for all the concerned, which we are not seeing. So Meiteis do not have a magic wand at all. So the concerned authorities, they have to come forward and act effectively to start a dialogue.
Right. Ma'am, out of the Assam rifles, in the Assam rifles, we had cookies, we had Meiteis, we had Baites, we had Paites, even had Sanamais, we had every single caste, creed, religion. We all fought shoulder to shoulder together. We all lived together. We all ate together. We all, on festivals, we danced together. We all took a leg together. We all coexisted very well. And similarly, when you were in the police as well, you have people from different, you have Tangkuls, you have Nagas, you have everyone. They all were coexisting together. So do you think there could be a possibility of the Meiteis and cookies coexisting together, ma'am, in the future?
It all depends on leadership. It all depends on the standard of governance. So government of India has been installing this puppet government since 1972 in Manipur. Earlier, before 1972, before statehood, also there was a lot of state issues on demand of statehood, and it took over 2 decades to get statehood of Manipur from being a independent state in 19 till 1949. We were a democratic nation before that. So we were merged into India in 1949, and there is still contention between Manipur and India that we were forced to sign a merger agreement. So right after merging with India, we have come to this state of affairs till 1972. We were not given statehood, and after 1972, we saw the rise of insurgents and drugs and all these militants. So, and historically, when we look back, Manipur has a composite history made up of over 2,000 years of solid written recorded history. And we have lived together for thousands of years together. There have not been communal classes before the merger. We were living together peacefully, beautifully. All of the communities in Manipur, the 34 indigenous communities and all the natives, we have built her up lovingly with strong care and protection for her, with strong nationalism for her. So this whole divide, when did it start? It all started with bad governance. The successive governments have been very divisive, and New Delhi has been encouraging this standard of governance in the north, especially Manipur, just to curb the insurgency problem. But insurgency problem has no solution with this mode of approach. It will only aggravate. So you have to come out with your heart and the soul. New Delhi has to seriously look at its, policy approach towards the people's voices and why insurgency broke out in Manipur, and they have to change their perspective on insurgency and their perspective on the militant groups, which are rather dealing in drought and being anti-national, which are threats to national security. Oh, these are basic things. And cookies and the Meiteis, they have been living together. They have been um, living peacefully for millennia. For the cookies came to Manipur some 200 years back, and this is on record. And there are many contentions to that, which I'm open to discuss in the future also. So when we have lived together peacefully for many, many, many decades, why these fights recently? When did it happen? Under what administration? Under what governance? And we have to take the responsibility to accountability. And with the state of standard of governance that government of India has been installing in Manipur successively since 1972, things have escalated, and the divide among the ethnic communities we have lived together peacefully, it has grown, bigger. So New Delhi has to change its approach, and there has to be improve in standard of governance in Manipur to bring about a peace.
Right, ma'am. And ma'am,
It is
last
certainly
question
possible. Cities and Manipur will live together.
and last question
All
before
the
we let you
communities
go.
will live together, build up one better Manipur.
Right, ma'am.
Yes, please.
And ma'am, last question before we let you go. You have seen the government of the previous government of Okrame Bobi Singh and the current government of Mr. N. Brain Singh as well. So, which according to you personally could was more effective in terms of leadership in Manipur, ma'am?
Uh, See, it's a very difficult question and a beautiful question as well. Which one is better, you mean? As a Manipuri, we have very bad experience under the Congress government. Maximum of the counting killings took place during the earlier government, and maximum suppression took place at the time. We thought with change of new government, things could improve. But this present government led by Minister N. Biren Singh under BJP has turned out to be worse in the history of Manipur. Much, much worse than the earlier government. So it's a total nightmare for us. We came away from a lion and we ended up facing the bear, as we have in our proverb, that it is the worst government that we are having. As we see the crisis, this is the worst crisis that Manipur has ever faced.
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you very much for your time. And as we all know that united we stand, divided we fall. I hope and pray from the bottom of my heart, genuinely, because as I told you, my experience with Northeast is the most principled, the most cultured. The people of the word who stand by their rules are people from the Northeast. When I say people of Northeast, I do not only mean people from Manipur. I mean people of Nagaland, or Mizoram, Tripura, be Arunachal. I have a lot of friends from the Apadani tribe from Arunachal. In fact, I started my schooling, my nursery, when I was 3 years old from Arunachal Pradesh. And I have spent golden years of
Wow.
my life in Northeast, and I generally feel for people from Northeast. People might consider me a Mayank. Either they see it as a derogatory term or as a compliment. I see it as a compliment because despite being a Mayank, I'm accepted by my people from Northeast. I love them all. Ma'am, thank you very much for your time, and I truly wish the best for you and for your family, ma'am. Take care. My regards to everyone there, ma'am.
Thank
Jai
you.
Hind.
Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, ma'am. Just ending the broadcast, ma'am. Just going offline. It's going